Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Money and Law on My FM 101.3. I'm your host, John Droyan from Manafort Financial. I'm joined by my dear friend and co-host and Christmas pal in this holiday season, Jay Marston.
That's me, Mr. Christmas.
From the Marston Law Group. We're also being videoed, Allison Cable Access TV, led by Christian Bidet. Christian Bidet, whose home that he lives in right now is, I think, won we were talking about this last week, the holiday decoration competition.
Oh, yeah.
In Holliston. So congratulations.
A lot of traffic over there. People who just coming by, taking pictures. You know,
That's
a lot
right.
of the animatronics out front are somewhat legendary. You know, people see the moving elves and the moving heads.
They think, am I in the North Pole?
They think it's live. They think it's live. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
That's right. So congratulations. And of course, Christian is an elf actually to the man who actually is running it, is Keith Bidet, who I think is
Santa Claus. Okay.
Who has been confused with Santa Claus before. Not lately, because I think he's a lean, mean fighting machine. But
That's right. That's right.
That's it. Okay, so here we are. We're on Money in the Law. As for many of you, most of you, since you're all avid listeners, and if you're new to the show, then what we do is we talk about all things that are, that encompass money and
legal
finance and all the stuff like kind of the, all the real unimportant stuff.
The intertwining, the intermingling of two what could be confusing and challenging areas. And then we just break it down to its most basic elements.
Sometimes you and I could, and where you would think that we would be confused or challenged, we don't. We're not.
Right.
So people, when they watch or they listen, they say, if those guys can do it, then so
if those guys can figure it out, how hard can it be? How hard can it be? Think of the show like this. You're at a barbecue. We're standing around the keg. Shocking, right? And you wander up, right?
We're like, oh, there's a keg at this barbecue.
Yeah, and we wander up because you're fresh out, right? And not only are you fresh out, but somebody probably wandered into your conversation and you were like, I don't like this person, so I'm going to whip this beer down and I'm going to go get a fresh one over at the keg. Right. And so we're over there manipulating the keg and doing all kinds of shenanigans. And you say, hey, what do you guys do for a living? And one of us says, oh, I'm a financial professional. We manage money for clients. And I say, I'm a lawyer. And you say, you know what? I got a question for you. While you're waiting for your red Solo cup to get topped off, you're like, hey, let me ask you a quick question. And you ask the question, and we give you the unvarnished truth. We just lay it out. Yep. Hey, you know what you ought to do?
45 minutes later, you get the...
Yep, that's right. You're 7 beers deep, right? And you're signing a fee agreement with me, and you're filling out a TOA form with him, and next thing you know, you leave and you wake up the next morning and you say to your wife, what did I do? And she's not even talking to you, so she doesn't even want to tell you what you did. All you know is you now have an attorney and a financial advisor.
And a brokerage account.
That's right. And a brokerage account. That's right.
So one of the things that you also are realizing at that point is that your keg, as you're trying to pour that 7th beer, you're filling it up with foam.
Yep.
And so you're like, oh my God, I have another keg. And before you know it, Jay and I have tapped that keg for you. And to the amazement of everybody, it's like, wow, do those guys work at a bar?
Do those guys have other skills? That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And when you wake up at your house the next day, light a couple of bucks from your fee agreement with the lawyer, and having moved all your money over to John, guess who's asleep in your lounge chairs out in the yard?
Always happen.
One of these guys, maybe both of these guys, but that's the show. Hey guys, quick question. I want to ask you a question. What would you say to this, right? And this is it right now. This is what we're doing. We're laying it all out for you in no uncertain terms. And we're not putting a spin on it. I mean, it's about as open kimono as it could possibly be. You got it. You know what we're talking about.
So, but that's a good point, because everybody's got their own kind of eyes on things. Everybody's got their own view. They have their own.
Absolutely.
They have their own their own vantage point on everything. And so and you and I think that we have a relatively objective vantage point for most things. And we try to do that. We try to do that. Now, there's always going to be things that we're biased about. Insurance professionals sometimes, like those guys,
we love them. We love them.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I came into the business as an insurance professional.
Yep.
Right? So,
you're a hammer. Everything's a nail. Yep, that's right.
So we have, we have probably some experience in that, so we can say things, and we could be a little bit more, a little bit more a little bit more visionary as to what's supposed to happen with those guys. And same thing with attorneys, right? I mean, you know a million lawyers, because you've been an attorney for so long, and you you kind of see kind of what the what's out there in the landscape, and we try to be as fundamental and as like I said, as objective as we can. But we have our just our kind of instinctive bias. But at the end of the day, I think what we do, and I'm kind of tooting our own horn here, but I think one of the things we do is we kind of give everybody the benefit of the doubt. We're middle of the road guys, right?
Sure.
So look, we're gonna, we understand that if an insurance guy is trying to sell you an insurance policy, it's how he makes a living, right?
Sure
or how she makes a living, right?
Yeah.
It's like this is what they do. So we get it, right? And don't get me wrong, I love insurance. I think it has its place, it has its purpose, but at the same time, people have to understand what they're doing, and at the same time, it has to work for their whole entire picture. So if you hear us kind of, as we objectively, analyze things, you may say, well, you always beat up the long-term care insurance guys. Well, no, we don't.
Oh, no, we don't. No,
we don't beat them up,
no.
But we say, look, this is good. This may or may not work for you based on, our view of this, of kind of the 30,000-foot view of what's your situation. Everybody's situation is different. So.
Yeah, no, and that's what you come to. That's what you come to your advisor for, right? You come to your advisor to say, hey, I got a question. I have a situation, and I need some advice, and I need some guidance. And in many cases, it's something that we've seen before, right? I mean, this is. When you engage with your financial advisor, when you engage with your attorney, you're coming in because you potentially have a problem, right? My problem is I need to make sure I have enough money to retire. That's a problem. How do we solve that problem? Well, we have a blueprint for that. We come in and people say, look, somebody passed away and they didn't do any estate planning. What's the path here? And you say to yourself, look, we've seen this before. Have we seen everything? Absolutely not. No, we absolutely have not seen everything. We don't make any claims to say we've seen every single situation.
I mean, how many times have you said, I thought I've seen it all?
That's right. That's right. This is unique. This is something that's unique. But we see a lot. And there's pattern, it's a pattern recognition, right? There is a pattern. People call us and they say, we have some dysfunction in the family. Okay, I can tell you right now, I have a couple of ideas of where this goes, right? And the dysfunction could be over money, it could be over control, it could be over, who's going to make what decisions.
Daddy issues.
There could be a whole host of issues. That's right. And we potentially have seen those issues before. And so our job is to say, look, this is where I think this goes, and this is kind of how we fix it and how we get you there and how we make, this sounds a little bit dramatic, but how do we make your life better? Right, because that's what you're involved in.
At the end of the day,
that's what you're involved in.
That's what you're doing.
That's what it's all about. How do we make your life better?
How am I going to make things easier for you? How am I going to get you to where you want to go? Right, that's it.
That's right. That's right. And that's what a lot of cases that's what we're doing. Is your life going to be better if you engage the services of Main Effort Financial and they help you get on the path to a secure and safe retirement? Yeah, your life's going to be better.
Well, and I mean, who knows? That's a very thank you. That's very
good guy. Good guy. Don't tell anybody.
But a good example would be to use it again. I like to compare myself to a doctor because I'm as smart as doctors. I have the same amount of. No,
sure, you went the same amount of school. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Well, our doctor friends out there, settle down.
But if you go to a doctor and you have a serious issue, right? And you go to your doctor and your doctor's, why do you go? The doctor knows what they're doing, right? And they say, well, I have this pain in my back, and the doctor says, I think it's this. How many times have people said, well, I'm going to go, I think it's this, and I think you need to have surgery. And then you say, well, but a good doctor will turn around and say, go talk to somebody else. Have somebody else take get a second opinion.
Yep.
And and for me and for Jay, I mean, I'm all for it. If you want to get a second opinion, that's great.
Yep.
That's great. And again, just understand that the second opinion has to be, has to kind of take into consideration everything that's so in the doctor example, if you have a sore back and and you're like, well, I can't walk, I've been in pain for 6 months, and you go get the second opinion, and the second opinion guy says, I don't know, I would just do cortisone shots. You may, and then you say, well, why, right? Why would you do that versus surgery? And then if they're good, they'll say, well, here's the pros and cons about doing this. Here's my experience, right? We talked about experience. Yeah. Here's my experience of of people who have had surgery, for a very similar, injury.
We see a lot of these types of injuries. Here's how you tell me how you got it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's kind of what we do. You know, this is it's almost like the Christmas explanation of kind of what we do as we're heading into the end of the year.
Oh, which we can't get to fast enough. Oh,
yeah,
man, oh, man.
I know, it's funny. It's like, you know, I've never been a big fan of wishing away time. You know,
No,
I mean, I've never been to prison, knock on wood, but that's, you know, that may be one of those things.
That we know of, yep.
Yeah, well, but you know, you've never, not under this name, no. But you know, it's, you know, you don't want to wish away time because you never know, right?
That's right. Never wish your life away. Agreed. Understood. Yep.
So, but it's been challenging for many people, and you know, so this year comes to an end, we talked about it last week about, you know, trying to look at some of the things that were, you know, some of the glasses that were half full as far as this year. At the end of the day, it's going to be nice. It will be very nice to kind of start things fresh again, and with luck, you know, almost kind of as the year ends, you know, there could be some light at the end of the tunnel here. You know, 2021 could be different for a whole lot of people on, you know, on all different fronts.
Yeah, well, you know, you look back and you say, you know, remember that crazy year, you know, that we had to basically sit around and.
Yeah, it doesn't feel crazy though. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I feel like when I think of crazy,
if you we've talked about this in the show. If you sit down and actually think about it, right? I mean, again, we talked about this before. If you really get into, you know, 9 months ago when they said, look, we're going into quote lockdown, right? I mean. It was like a ghost town, right? I mean, everybody was legit, at least right? At least in Massachusetts. Everybody was locked down. I mean, you were not going anywhere. If you went out, you felt like you were public enemy number one, right? You were waiting to get wrestled to the ground if somebody saw you sneak into the Shaws or, you know, Stop and Shop or something like that, right? You really felt like you were committing a crime, right? So that was the beginning of this, and we talked about it, and there was no idea of what this thing was going to look like, how long this was going to last. And so now, you know, to your point, you know, there's potentially some light at the end of the tunnel, and as the numbers, you know, of people who are able to have access to this vaccination and people can kind of do, you know, we'll get to a number where they'll be the big reveal, right? Like that the government will come out and say, look, you don't have to, you know, we've reached the right numbers that you can take those masks off, and everybody's been, enough people have been, you know, and vaccinated that you don't have to, and that's going to be like, that's when you see like there's pent up demand, right? I mean, if you think it was expensive to fly before the pandemic, when this Band-Aid comes off, it's going to be like, you know.
I think it's more of like a hard, like a plaster cast than a Band-Aid.
Oh my God, yeah, I think you're right. It's like it's like getting out of traction, right? So when they cut you loose and say you're now free to move about the country, people are going to go bonkers, right?
Yeah, and they're going to go bonkers, and you're going to have all these airlines that and travel, the travel industry in general is going to take advantage of that, and take advantage of it not in a way that they're going to take advantage of people. But again, we live in a capitalistic society, supply and demand.
Oh yeah.
And you think about how much money the airline and the whole travel industry has been hemorrhaging over the past year, hemorrhaging money to the point where, you know, and again they've done, you know, I know for the airline that we study that they've done an extraordinary job of keeping people on the payroll, and you know, with the help of the government, you know, the government's, you know, the stimulus packages have enabled that to happen. But the airline industry has been, you know, the airlines that we look at, they've done, you know, they haven't laid off like trillions of people that you would just say that this is how it works when planes don't fly, when planes aren't full of people, then this is how we have to, you know, we have to make them, and you know, understanding that these companies, they have to make money, right? You know, at the end of the day, companies have to make money, industries have to make money, and if
they have so much invested. Yeah. I mean, you don't just decide tomorrow, like, you know what, we're going to step out of the airline business for a year, right? And we'll be back next year. You know, we can't go into hibernation, right? We're going to park all these jets at the end of the runway. We're just going to keep them there.
But it costs money to do that, right?
That's right.
It costs money. I mean, you can't.
And you also run the risk you're not getting back in. I mean, you give up all those routes, you give up all those gates, you give up all those connections. I mean, these, you know, companies have built industries that are not necessarily easy to just, you know, walk away from and say, well, we're just not going to do this anymore. I mean,
we're not going to fly to Chicago anymore.
No, and it's not a bankruptcy situation. It's not like they're going to go out of business and Delta's going to say, we'll buy your planes, we'll take all your people, we'll take all your routes.
Like Mr. Potter comes in and starts buying, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. So it's going to be, it's to your point. These operations have kind of kept themselves going on these shoestring budgets, if you will. And by the way, unfortunately, if people are comfortable flying, you're for $43 you're going to Miami for lunch, right?
Sure.
I mean, but yes, that there's going to be the comeuppance, and there's going to be the other side of that where it's going to be, look, it's not how it works anymore. Yes, you could have traveled for next to nothing for a year, and now you're going to travel for a heck of a lot more than nothing.
And people are going to do it. People are going to travel, and for all the right reasons.
Yep.
Because they couldn't, and because they couldn't for so long, and because they were afraid to, or because maybe there's people that they haven't seen for.
That's it. A lot of that. Go see some loved ones. Go see mom and dad. Yep.
Right.
That's right.
And especially now, kind of in the wake of all this, everybody's going to be like, "What am I waiting for?" Yeah. So it cost me an extra $200 a ticket to go to fly to Florida to see my in-laws, or to see my brother who I haven't seen for a while, right? Because I couldn't, or people are going to, or then there's people that have always said, on my bucket list, I always wanted to go to London, and then now it's like no one's flying anywhere, no one's flying to London, and now they're like, okay, I'm 75 years old, what am I waiting for?
Well, I missed a year, so I didn't have the opportunity, and the experience of the pandemic has made me realize that, I get to start checking stuff off my bucket list because I might not get to do it. So,
anything can happen, right? I mean, think about it. Like this time last year. So this will be aired the day after Christmas. So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
But we're shooting it 2 days before Christmas. So Merry Christmas. This is like the lead up to it, right?
It feels like it. Yeah.
But think about it. Last Christmas, were we talking about this?
No.
Do you think you would be like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to go, because I know you're a huge Key West fan, right?
Yeah.
So and that's kind of part of your, if you can make it work, you and your wife are going to go to Key West if you can every year, right?
Yep.
That's what we do. That is our thing, and you save for it and you plan for it, and you tell your kids, don't burn the house down. Mom and Dad will be back soon. Like all that's really, really important. And if I'd have said, hey, guess what? You're probably not going to be going, and who knows when you're going to be able to go.
Well, I'll tell you right now. So we went in January of this year, right before everything got crazy, and we come back, and then we went down for February break. We went down also to Florida, not to Key West. Like everybody, we did some stuff. Kids were on vacation, all that stuff. We did a bunch of stuff, and then leading up to this year. So this year was my 25th wedding anniversary. So I said to my wife, we'll probably definitely be going away for our 25th wedding anniversary, and her birthday and all the things that you kind of go and you go out and celebrate. And mind you, and then through all of the stuff that we've been sort of inconvenienced by, 320,000 people lost their lives, right, as a result of this. I mean, my troubles are minuscule,
sure,
relative to some of the folks who have suffered through the loss of loved ones as a result of this. So and if you did suffer the loss of a loved one, even that was different. Like everything was different, right? So, when you talk about the craziness of it, and you say to yourself, you couldn't go see somebody at the hospital. You couldn't gather together to celebrate somebody's life if they passed away. Everything was so, this concept of the social distancing and keeping the numbers down, and if you were following that, true to form, your behavior was irreparably altered this year because of what was going on. And like I said, when you talk about the pandemic at a macro level, it's like, oh, the pandemic, wow, amazing. But again, when you sit down
when you
actually either personalize it, or you really just kind of pump the brakes and think about how different this year was, it is unbelievable. I'm not making light of it. I mean, if you knew people who got sick, or if you knew people who were at risk of getting sick, I mean, it was just unbelievable.
And throw in all all the other fanfare that came along with it, and in all of the politics and kind of the division of where the country kind of ended up. All along, all the way through this.
I mean, March, April, right? March, April, the beginning of this thing, you're in lockdown. The markets are up 35%. I mean, it felt like it felt like the end times. We felt like it was the apocalypse, right? You're like, what is going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, truly at that point, we were thinking that we could potentially be going into a full-blown, real-life 1930s depression.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so on that happy note, right before
we'll lift
Christmas,
you up for the holidays.
Yeah, actually, we're bringing you down to bring you back up. So that's how we do. We know we've done this before. We'll be right back on Money in the Law, My FM 101.3, WMRC First Class Radio, and Holliston Cable Access TV.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
And we're back. My FM 101.3, Jay Mars, and with the Mars and Law Group.
So clean.
John Drohan, Main Effort Financial, Christian Man in the Con, talking about the pandemic and talking about all things pandemic, and just discussing how it's a crazy year, and we're getting to the finish line on it. And I think everybody and their brother and their sister and their aunt and uncle are ready to put this one in the books.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. On an upbeat note, you know what movie I watched? The Christmas movie I watched the other day. I don't know. Well, my first question that I'll ask you. That's the other question in a minute. But
ask me a question if you can ask me a question.
Christmas movie that has not aged well.
A Christmas? You're asking me a Christmas movie?
I'm going to tell you about a Christmas movie that has not aged well. I don't think it's aged well. And it's the one starring the great Chevy Chase, and it was National Lampoon's Christmas.
Yeah.
It did. I watched it the other night. Happened to kind of see it was on TV, and I was too lazy to turn it off. And I was doing something, and I think I was.
Which happens a lot
in the pandemic.
I'm too lazy to turn this TV off.
It's right there. I can't get it. Maybe one of the kids will walk through and get that for me, right? And I think I was stuffing Christmas card envelopes or something like that. So I'm like, I'll leave this on. It's a Christmas movie, and I got to tell you, hasn't aged well.
No. I mean, I do enjoy because if we're going to talk movies, let's do some movie battle.
Lift everybody up a little bit.
There is the great scene, and again, if you're a fan, if you kind of grew up with the National Lampoon Vacation, the great scene, like the hallmark scene, is when Cousin Eddie shows up.
Yes.
And because he wasn't in the sequel to National Lampoon's Vacation. So remember, it went National Lampoon Vacation, European Vacation, and then Christmas Vacation. So if you remember,
but this is I don't think this is the Christmas Vacation. This is I'm trying to think which one. I didn't. The series escapes me, so I'm not sure which.
It's the one with the turkey, and they cut the turkey, and it
it's
that same movie. We're talking about the same movie.
All right. Okay.
So, but remember that actor. I forget his name. But that actor, Cousin Eddie, is the character. You remember in the National Vacation, he's classic, right? Even though he's like, I didn't get my disability because the plate in my head wasn't big enough, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, Clark, bet you can use a coal. I mean, how many times have you used that line, right? So then in this, so he doesn't show up for the European, so that movie, which was awful anyway, that movie, so he's not there. And then, of course, in Christmas Vacation, Clark's just about to light up his house, and Cousin Eddie just shows up.
Standing there.
He's there,
yes.
And so I remember the first time seeing that movie, I'm like, that's Cousin Eddie, and that kind of made you're right. The movie wasn't. It was okay, and over time it gets the jokes get a little dead.
Like and you compare it to like all the other Christmas classics that have come out since then. There's a bunch of other historical ones, but I guess I was like, it kind of saddened me a little bit. Like I was thinking to myself, I thought I remember this to be better, and it's just not that good. And what I was explaining to my wife was. The National, I don't know if you remember this, but so National Lampoon, that used to be, that was like a precursor to Second City and the SNL players and everything like that.
I'm well aware of it.
Okay, so you're well aware of its history, and and so
they were the pioneers of true, like the humor that we enjoy today. Like those writers, like that was all the Animal House, like all that, like that was the really the edgy, cutting edge stuff that before
like they used to put out albums, right? Like they
remember
had
that?
albums that come out. Remember
I had albums.
They had a whole mixing thing. Yeah. They had. I mean, it was just
like the Mr. Rogers. Have you ever heard the one where he interviews the bass guitarist, rock and roll guy? Yeah, right. I mean, I had that album.
Right. Yeah. So it was,
and they were the albums were they were a little bit edgy,
very edgy.
Imagine for 1978, 75, really edgy.
And what I was laughing about was my dad was a huge comedy fan, and so he was a big National Lampoon fan, And of course, that came in the mail, and it was like, that's Dad's. Nobody can read Dad's magazine,
Right.
And it was all like off the chart,
off color,
inappropriate. I mean, but one of the movie Christmas Vacation, that was a story in a previous edition of National Lampoon, and I kept saying to my wife when we were watching the movie, I said, my father read that, and he literally was falling out of his chair, laughing so
because it was funny.
Hard. I mean,
because it was funny.
Well, and because it was funny, because it was you didn't know it in the context that we know it in.
Yeah.
And I just remember him reading this thing, and he must have been turning purple as he was laughing so hard reading it. And he's trying to read parts of it to us,
right? And
he can't. And he's so busy laughing, he just can't.
Which is funny in itself, right? When someone's telling you a story and they're laughing.
And like I said, you get the context, and I kept saying, you have to know where this all came from. I mean, these guys were doing stuff that was just cutting edge humor. So that's my point. My point is, unfortunately, I didn't feel like it. In this time, it was another knife to the heart from pandemic, 2020, right? Like, and then this movie didn't age as well.
This movie stinks.
It was unbelievable.
This movie's not funny anymore. Yeah.
No, it was just.
I remember laughing at this more.
I thought Chevy Chase was better. I thought he was better. That was just unbelievable.
Well, he was on the downward. He was heading down during that.
Anyway, he was only on SNL, I believe, one season.
I think you're right.
I think
he
was
thought
one
season. Yeah, did the news.
Yep.
Right?
He thought you know what? I'm gonna shoot for the stars here, and it didn't necessarily work out.
But he did.
Yeah.
I mean, make no mistake about it. I mean, when you talk about movies like Caddyshack, and Fletch, and the original Vacation, Christmas. I mean, that was Chevy Chase in his prime.
You know what I mean? Yep.
That was when you were like this guy, but then after that, I think
he got to a slow start when he left SNL.
I
think it took him a while to get his footing. I think that's my point. That's what happened. So, end of the year, what are you guys talking about over at the firm? We talked last week about how there's no MRDs this year, so that's exciting. So are you guys already into 2021 planning and talking about goals, objectives, all that stuff?
Yeah, well, the market's in kind of a weird place right now. It just doesn't want to. It doesn't want to quit.
Waiting for something to happen. It's waiting for something to happen.
But it doesn't want to quit. It's been strong. But at the same time, some industries are still haven't caught all the way back up, and some industries have left the building like you've never seen. Like some of the when you look at like companies like Amazon, you look at companies like Tesla, like you can't stop. Their stocks are just flying out, and when you see these things, when you see these kinds of movement of companies, like it just shows you that the pandemic has, some of these industries have absolutely flourished, and some of these industries are still playing catch up. But with respect to the market hasn't punished them, hasn't fully punished them yet.
No, but it's been kind of narrow. It's been like if you look at the S&P, you look at how the indexes have done. It's very, very narrow. It's only a handful of companies that have been driving a lot of that. And when you start to pull out, to your point, you pull out not so much Tesla because it just got added, but you pull out some of these companies from these indices, and it has not been an across the board. You really got to sort of pick your poison.
Or normally, like the market will kind of carry it, right? So if the market's going up and your company's making money, and your industry is not isn't under some kind of scrutiny or spotlight, then it's going to then oftentimes your stock gets carried with the market, whether or not you particularly have a a favorable forecast. But one of the things that we look at that we're looking at now, of course, is taxes. Like your capital gains tax, because we've had such a insane year with respect to capital gains for your non-retirement account. So we're looking hard. There's the ability to take advantage of some tax loss if you had some loss.
Sure.
And there's and we do that every year. That's kind of what you do across the board. But this year it's tricky, right? Because there's some things that you're like, wow, somebody bought has had Apple stock or had Tesla stock before the split, and they're like they're through the roof, or they bought Moderna stock before and they're like, and then they sold it because they were I don't know, I don't think Moderna's going to do anything, and they turn around and Moderna's like, well, we have a vaccine as well.
Oh, we have a 95% effective vaccine that we've been just chipping away at over here.
So you know, as with anything, you know, we're trying to stay with our normal protocol of, okay, you know, I rarely let taxes wag the dog, so I'm not going to have, we're not going to say, all right, let's dump this and wait 90 days and buy it back. If there's something that we like and there's a company, and you probably feel the same way, you're gonna, you know, and you think there's potential, there's more room to go.
You can hold it.
I'm going to hang on to it. And then if there is something that, you know, we've been looking at and say, well, you know, we're not too keen on this anyway. We know we're going to move it. Now would be a better time to move it rather than wait a month or so, because we can you know, achieve the tax loss on it and be able to balance out some of the gains. I mean, that's all tax harvesting is. So we're doing a little of that. Well, we're doing that as, like I said, as our normal protocol. But I'm with you. I'm looking forward to the new year. I'm looking forward to kind of re-looking at everybody's, you know, kind of reevaluating everybody's plan and almost trying to, you know, doing like everything else is in the rearview mirror. Where are we going from here?
Right,
and where are we going with what we know now? Is you know, do we have to make some adjustments because you want to take a big family vacation, or you finally said, look, I'm going to pull the trigger on, you know, on buying that vacation home,
sure.
Or I'm going to retire because guess what? I'm not going to wait around for something else to happen. Right. I want to move or whatever. So we're, you know, we're going to focus on that in the coming, you know, right after the new year in the gaining month of just like kind of looking at everybody and say, okay, are we still on track for what you want to do, or is there some real changes? And kind of, you know, some of them may not happen right away, but just to really entertain that and kind of generate that discussion.
Yeah, this is the
and have everybody redo their estate plan.
Build it into the system.
And
build it into the system.
Make sure that their estate plan.
Let's get that on the agenda. Let's get that on the agenda. We've had a fair number of conversations with folks who are worried about this. You know, there's always attorneys that are looking to push content out there about, you know, hey, look at us, you know, and so you see it's that now where people say, hey, what you need to worry about, you know, if Biden has now won the election, what you need to worry about for your estate plan, right?
Yeah.
And the answer is, let's wait and see what legislation looks like. Let's wait and see what Congress does. We've seen most recently how long it takes them to do anything.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's no rush to go and do stuff. And, you know, if there's going to be a discussion around, you know, whether or not the estate tax is going to come down, is it going to get eliminated? You know, obviously they're looking to fund a lot of these things. You know, let's before we start worrying about that stuff, let's figure it out. But, you know, you're right. It is the time of the year where you sit down and you say, look, you're getting all your insurance policies are coming in. So let's, you know, potentially do some insurance reviews. You might be carrying some insurances that you don't need anymore. You know, it might be time to switch from some life insurance policies that have got you to a certain point in life. Maybe it's the time to consider a long-term care policy, you know, and, you know, that's what you see. You know, it's funny, you know, we talk about this all the time. You know, as you know, as much as we make fun of the folks in the insurance industry, if you think about it, it's something that's part of your life for your whole life. I mean, when you come into this world, you're covered by insurance, right? I mean, for the most part, most people, right? You come into this world, you know,
health insurance, life insurance, right?
Right. You walked out of the hospital with your kids, right? You didn't pay anything, right? You come home, you're like, hey, I got the kid, and it didn't cost me anything. I mean, I'm assuming
it's going to stay. It's not going to cost me anything anyway.
I'm assuming it's kind of expensive to have one of these things, right? I mean,
we'll see.
Right? You know, yeah. So, you know, we'll figure it out, right? So insurance is part of your whole life, but you know, it plays a different role at different parts. So this is part of that, you know, process of saying, hey, look, you know, is it time to reevaluate, right? If you own, you know, vacation property, you know, if you're paying flood insurance, you just get your insurance premiums, and if you're looking for another option, you know, this is a time to say,
absolutely,
you know, let's figure this out. Because what are you going to do? You're talking about manufacturing money. We talk about it I love your phrase, right? You're talking about it on the show all the time, right? So we just did two things. We went and reevaluated our flood insurance, right? We have a place on the Cape, so we reevaluated our flood insurance.
I was going to say, not the Washington Street flood
insurance. Not that waterfront property.
That floods?
No.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
But we did that, and we looked at, and we redid our cell phone plan.
Nice.
And it was about $300 a month. Saved $300 a month. Right?
I mean,
so that's manufacturing money. That's a car payment.
That's real money.
Yeah.
That's a new car, right?
Yeah.
And you know, Lord knows you have you know, how many cars you have now?
Well, we
Like
get a fleet
16?
of drivers now. So like everybody, right? All of a sudden the kids are showing
Everybody
up. And like,
needs
what am I
a
going to
car.
drive? Right?
Yeah.
Everybody needs a car now.
Where's
so,
my car?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. You know,
You've got the Mercury Marquis, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, you know, my parents handed me a bus ticket, right, or a token back in the day, right? Here's your token. There's your new car. Congratulations.
It's nice.
Here you go.
You'll share it.
Here's a bus pass.
You
Here
won't
go.
be lonely.
Yep, that's right. You'll have plenty of company. Yep.
I do. I love that. I love that approach. I love the idea of okay, you know, things with any sort of luck, things are going to change. Things are going to get better. We're going to be able to do more things. We're going to, and which could result in us spending more money. So why not right now, take a look at, okay, the last year was a totally anomaly. Maybe this year is going to be different. And what can we do to make some adjustments and potentially free up some money? And again, you know, if I can save $300, like you guys, if I can save $300 a month, that can go towards maybe I wasn't contributing as much to my retirement, or maybe I wasn't saving that money because I wasn't saving for a vacation because I knew I wasn't going to go on. I was too afraid to go on a vacation.
Well, the reason I bring those things up now is because as we're heading into, so now, but when this show airs, we'll be sort of in the full-blown, this is that week's time where you're between Christmas and New Year's.
Which
right?
I don't even really remember most years. I mean,
No,
it's usually it's a
most
blurry
of
week.
it's blurry.
It goes by so fast.
Yeah, this week flew by. I felt like I spent most of it. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's why you don't.
Although
remember.
this year will be different because my family's not coming in. So I don't see my brother and sisters. I won't see my mother.
You might remember more of this holiday than you normally would.
The whole, like, so they show up on the day after Christmas and stay at least 5 days.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. And before I know it, it's New Year's Eve.
Yes.
And now it's not.
So you have to. We'll have to get together and socially distance.
I mean, we're going to have to get together just to so I can talk to something that feels like family, right? Yeah.
Well, my point is, you're going to be sitting around this week with looking to do something, right? And it's a good time while you're sitting there watching a game, if that's what you're doing, right? Just pull out your pen and just jot some stuff down and say, you know, look at this, look at this, look at the, you know, just quickly. And even better, if you have a guy, right? If you have an insurance or a woman, not just a guy, if you have an insurance person, let them do it.
Yeah.
They love that stuff, right? They can do it in 2 seconds. Hey, can I get a quick policy review? I want to see if there's a better option for me. That is music to their
because they
ears.
hear that I'd like to increase my insurance coverage, and so therefore I'd like to get a new policy or maybe update. And they're like,
that's right.
It's like, I'm sorry, Jay. Thank God you called. I was going to call you.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's like
that's cool. That's okay, right?
But that's the point, right? That the point is, can you this is a great time to do these.
You're
types
stepping
of,
on my core.
Oh, settle down, will you? This is a great time to go through that because you might manufacture some money for yourself by going through that process, and it's real money. It could be real money, and you'll feel better. You'll feel better. It's the responsible thing to do, and it's a great move. And why wouldn't you do it?
Well, not only is it the responsible thing to do, it's the way businesses work. So oftentimes we will coach clients and say, treat your family as if it were a business. Now, granted, the family business, quote unquote, if you're treating your family as a business, is going to be maybe different than a regular business, because there's other factors that come in that carry more weight than others. Like if your wife says, "I really want to go to here," then of course that's where you go. It's kind of
just so you think. Some of you out there who think you're the CEO of your family,
think the board's going to vote on something.
That's right. That's right.
Or if it's the chairman,
your life may have a title that you don't know about, and so
Or you just look at it as shareholders, right? So you own shares in said company, but you may not be the majority shareholder that you think you are, or thought you were, or were at one time.
Don't go home and tell your spouse you work for me. That's a suggestion right there. You probably don't want to do that.
But anyway, back to the analogy is that if you treat if you treat it as if it were a business, and if a business can save money, right? If a business can save money doing A, B, C, D, and E, and still accomplish all of its goals, it's doing that for a reason. It's not doing that because, hey, it's fun to make money, or maybe we can give out bonuses, or maybe we can raise our dividend. Of course, those are all cool things.
Absolutely.
But they also do it in the idea that, you know what? Business changes, the landscape changes, the market changes. And guess what? If we have, 40% of the market share this year, someone else may come in and say, now we only have 30%, and our margins may get smaller. And if you look at it in that respect, and you can save money, this is money you may need down the road, because guess what? If your kid needs braces, if your kid gets their driver's license, and you're like, look, you need a car because I can't drive you to practice. Right. You can't have my car all the time because I have to go to work.
Well, but here's the other thing. Companies will take that money and they'll redeploy that to accomplish other objectives, right? You're going to do the same exact thing. We talked about, if you can pull...
You're going to advertise.
If you can, you save yourself a couple $100 a month by, cobbling together some changes to some policies and some plans and some this and some that, and then next thing you know, you say to yourself, geez, you know what? I just found $200 a month. Let's do something with it. To your point, let's put it in a savings account and let's reward ourselves. Let's go somewhere. Let's do an upgrade. If you were going to spend a certain amount of money on a family vacation, you can throw that money at an upgrade to your family vacation, or take two of them.
Great example.
Take another.
Great example. In the insurance industry, one of the things that was the pinnacle event of the year was the convention.
Ooh,
right?
The sales.
So, the convention, right? So when I first came into the industry, it was all about qualifying for the convention, right?
Yes.
And so the convention.
How much do I have to sell?
That's
to
right.
make the
What's
trip?
my number?
What
What's
do I
my
have to sell
number?
to
Right?
make the trip? Yep.
So the convention was they paid for the trip. You had to pay for your airfare, but they paid for the trip and the food, and there's a couple of drinks thrown in.
A couple of drink tickets, maybe a couple more drink tickets.
And so, like you're saying, if the convention's in Florida, that's cool. But if you can upgrade your convention, and maybe your convention is not in Florida this year, maybe it's in Hawaii or someplace cool like that. Think of it just like that. You're running your own insurance industry.
Well, think about it, right? You say to yourself, guys, think this is like not even a joke, right? Guys, here's what we as a family are trying to accomplish this year, right? Everybody has a goal, right? They're not sales goals. They're kind of like sales goals, but they're not sales goals. But you say to everybody, because remember, nobody went anywhere this year, right?
Yeah.
So next year you say, guys, 2021's got to be better. So let's shoot for something, right? And the goal is this, right? And let's say it's a family vacation, right? And then if everybody hits their goal, this is what the family vacation looks like, right?
That's right.
And if everybody doesn't hit their family goal, then maybe the family vacation looks different, right?
Yeah.
But put it out there as a carrot, right? You need some incentive,
goal.
right? So family goal, have a family goal, right?
I want to actually come and sit on this board meeting at the Marsden family at the Marsden.
We did this over the summer. We made a game out of. The joke was we tracked who went to the beach the most.
Yeah.
Right? These are
first
world.
I think you and I
are first world issues, right?
I was going to say
who went to the beach the most, and the winner for going to the beach the most was you got to pick the family vacation. That's what you get to figure it out, right?
That's pretty good.
And by the way, recognizing that there's obviously there's a lot of folks who are struggling to come up with, they've had a tough year. It's been a tough year financially. So again, you look at it and say, look, there has to be some good that comes out of the bad, right? There's got to be some positivity out there. And if that's what you can do is you say, look, we're going to put this carrot out there, and this is going to be something that we think we're going to use as a motivator. After the year we just had, you need something, right?
Sure.
You need something to say, let's just try to move this thing forward, right? And those are the things you can think
about. Or maybe it's something a little more closer to home. Maybe it's like, look, we've been saving up for, we watched the heck out of this TV.
Yeah.
It was fun, but we'd like to upgrade our TV.
Yep.
Or we'd like to upgrade everybody.
You see a lot of people doing stuff to their house, right? Hey, we're going to put in a small patio for the fire pit because we're going to be spending a lot more time.
We wanted a hot tub, and finally we're getting one.
Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, right? Yep. If it's travel, if it's an improvement, if it's something. Maybe it's to clear off some debt, right? Maybe say, look, this is what we're going to try to do. This is our goal. These are the things that it's the goals are the goals are motivating, right? And this is you call them resolutions, whatever you want to call them, but this is the time.
You're making a plan, right?
Yep,
you're
that's right.
Like you're looking at, you say, okay, what do I want to, and that's the $1 million question. What do I want to see happen? What do I want to see have happen if I'm sitting here next year? What do I want to see? What can I say?
Right.
What boxes have I checked?
What do I want to feel good about? Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk.
And feel good some more.
We'll talk some more feel good stuff.
All right. We'll be right back.
And we're back, My FM 101.3, Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main Effort Financial. Christian keeping us skinny on the camera. And,
speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, pandemic, what do they call it? The quarantine 15? Is that
what put that COVID-19 plus.
COVID-19 plus, nice.
It's all right.
Nice.
It's all right. I'm working on it.
All right. Is that one? What do you have any? As we kind of cruise into the year end, do you have any goals?
I'll save those for next year. I don't want to just like come up because I am going to have some, and they're
the goal show, okay.
and they're important.
Yes,
they are important, but I'll save those for next show.
All right.
But because I've been giving them some thought, but so right now, like because we're recording, I'm 2 days out from Christmas, and even though we're not having like the big show at the house, it still seems like I have a million things to do. So like today, when I'm like, oh, so are we doing the show today? And if you said, well, I don't know, I would have been like, oh. That gives me another 2 hours. But Christian, of course, because Christian yesterday's
he misses us.
Christian's like, hey, are we doing? And Christian, in his defense, he texts us the day before, right? And we're awful. Like I see the text and I'm like, I don't know. And I say, this is what I say to you.
We should probably address this.
I say, Christian, I don't know. I know that you have a lot of more planning to do for this, yet I still don't answer you until like the next day. And he's so cool about it. Like he's so
he easily could have said,
he could be like, you guys suck. Like, can you please, like, hello? Is anybody? I know you have.
I know you got it. I know you got it.
I know you have a cell phone.
Delivered. Right. I saw the bubbles. I saw you texting.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So Christian, I'm making a Christmas apology to you right now for not answering you right away.
A holiday apology.
It's because you deserve that, because you're so right. And Christian's here, you and I roll in whenever we feel like rolling. Christian's here set up. It's like 11. Okay, I'll have both cameras set up here at 11.
Yeah, we can stroll it in.
Yeah, we can roll. And if Christian's like waiting, he hands us our microphone, doesn't say anything, and say you're late. Right.
Well, you can read it. You can read. You can tell by his demeanor. He was different today. He was very different today.
He's got stuff to do too, right?
I know he does, but
he's got some Christmas shopping to finish.
It was a little icy here when I first got here.
Did you get your old man's Christmas present yet? All right, so he's saying yes, he did. All right, so Keith,
don't tell us. Don't tell us.
No, don't say it on the air. I'm sure it's something really cool. I mean, I can only imagine. What do you buy Keith Bidet? I mean,
man who has everything.
Not a hat, that's for sure. He's got the best. He still has the best hair of anybody our age that I know. He in our softball league.
Is that what he's known at?
In our softball league, he was known for, because he had throwback hair. He had this hair, like for the last 15 years. Yeah. Oh yeah, he had 1978 hair, and I'm like, look at that guy's hair. This is before I knew him, right? I'm like, who is that? And I would always say, who's the guy with the hair on your team? Who's that guy? He's good, right? Yeah.
That's right.
That's Christian's old man.
All right. Your obsession with men's hair is fascinating.
Well, it's, you know what?
I didn't know that was a thing for you.
It's a topic of discussion in our house. I mean, it's new, right? It's new to me, right? I'm like, and let me tell you what, it's not going over well. It is. I mean, Haley, she looks at me and says, I don't like it.
Well, that's how I used to get with the beard.
Yeah.
Nobody liked the beard.
Everybody
was tired of the beard.
So it's, I'm going to fix it. It's just, I'm waiting for a little more. I'm waiting for the numbers to go down a little.
For the right time.
Exactly.
For the right time.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
It's like a reason to do it.
All right. So do you have any, is there anything you want?
I'm going to save them. I'm going to save them for the goal show.
Okay.
I'll save them.
Okay.
I'll save them for the goal show.
All right.
Work-wise, we're doing the same thing you guys are doing. We're talking about people's, planning and trying to get some stuff done. And we have a lot of people that have a certain need to get stuff done by the end of the year, so we're doing a lot of year-end planning for people. We'll be doing the same thing next year. We see a lot of sort of those resolutions that people say, look, we've been talking about getting this done. We got to get this done. Let's get this done. And so we'll be there for that, and we put some content out there around that. Look at me. But yeah, that's until something changes where there's actually a need to really go in and sort of revisit things. And as we talked about earlier in the show, if the laws change with the new incoming administration, then fine, we'll deal with it. But that'll
be fun. Never a dull moment, right?
On the estate plan, it's always exciting. I mean,
well, you know what? It's because you guys are low hanging fruit, right? The estate plan, and and some of the IRA rules, right? Yeah, that's low hanging fruit. All right, we're gonna reinstitute the estate tax again, because that's some smart guy gets a calculator out and says, look how much money we can make.
Pull off. And these guys, by the way, these guys have it because again, the estate tax right now, it's the threshold is like for a couple, it's like $24 million, right? Yeah. So nobody cries themselves to sleep at night saying, I feel really bad because John's paying the estate tax because it's $24 million estate when he checked out, right? So yeah, it's
right. It's not on anybody's radar, right? No one cries about it. But the people who do are the people who have that money.
Oh, sure.
And then if that's their biggest problem, and then you want to say, well, if that's your biggest problem in life, that you're paying estate tax because you have that
you die
your
with
estate
$25 million,
your
my
estate
hat
is
goes out
that
to you.
big, and then you're like, whoa, yeah, like the people like the people that we run with, they can't identify with that problem.
No, and now the Massachusetts tax is a different animal, right? I mean, that's
right.
That's $1 million, and you live in New England, and your house has some value, and you probably have a retirement account, 401k. I mean, you get there a lot quicker on the Mass side. So that's
and that could be real money, and that
could
could be
real money.
worth taking a look at, right?
Yep. And then there are other strategies to take care of that, and you can figure out whether or not you want to make things more complicated. Those are the conversations that we find ourselves having a lot. Gifting, a lot of the $15,000 gift exclusion rules, and we talk about this every year on the show. Is it when the check is made? Is it when the
right.
We'll talk about that next week. And if you're going to be doing that, as we've counseled you low these many years, if you're asking that question, we're already aggravated and frustrated with you, because just get rid of it. If you're going to do that, just do it.
You know what? 2 days before Christmas, I am neither aggravated nor frustrated with any of you. Okay?
Really?
No, I'm not. No, it's you know what? And my grinchy friend over here, he isn't either. He's not. He is the most patient attorney I've ever seen.
Very patient.
He's patient.
Maybe too patient. That's right.
Maybe a little too patient. And if that's your biggest, right? If that's your biggest, when you're in that interview and they say, what's your biggest fault? And you say,
I work too hard. Yeah, I work too hard.
I'm a little too patient. Spend a little too much time at the gym. And I'm too conscientious of other people's feelings.
That's right. That's right. Yep. Those are my faults. So sue me. I'm only human. I'm only human.
But he's not really. Don't really sue me.
No,
because
that's right.
because I'm a lawyer. Good luck. Try and sue me.
We love that.
Let's go.
Yep. We love that. We love that.
All right. So are you guys? What's the Christmas plan? You guys just everybody home hunkering down? Or
everyone's home hunkering down. It's my daughter's birthday, Christmas Eve. So,
that's right.
Yep. So we'll be hanging around. Right. So Riley's birthday, and we'll be just hanging around like everybody, same as you guys. We'll probably figure a way to maybe do some package delivery. We might there might be some socially distanced drop off.
That's always fun. Always
presents.
Fun. Yeah. I have a plan. So, and we may have talked about this before, but I forget. So, Riley growing up as being her birthday on Christmas Eve, was she happy and enthusiastic about having her birthday?
Yeah. And here's my take on this. And I don't have a birthday on Christmas, so my birthday's at the middle of nowhere, March, right? So it doesn't fall around any home. Maybe I catch an Easter every once in a while, depending on how the solstice breaks, right? Yeah. But no, she's the theory in my mind was, look, I said it's your birthday on Christmas Eve. Everybody's, to your point, everybody's in a good mood.
Yeah.
Everybody's dressed up.
Off.
Everybody's off. Everybody's having
it's festive.
Off. I said it's like you have an automatic built-in birthday party for the rest of your life. I said, so that's a great way to go about it. And she loves it, and it works out. And
that's nice.
So it's fine. So she's got a good way about it. So
it's funny. My sisters, both my twin sisters, their birthday is on Christmas Eve as well, and it was the total opposite growing up.
Oh, really?
They were
she loves it. Yeah.
It was like and it would always be
which
one's my present for my birthday? Which they were.
Oh yeah, I got
tough.
a cousin that's birthday present. If you give her a birthday present wrapped in Christmas paper, she'll throw it at your head. She'll throw it at your head.
This obviously isn't
for
me.
They lose their mind. Yep. So
so my sister's birthday is tomorrow too. So that's a big it's big. It's big. And you never miss it. Although this year we'll miss it. This year
you will. It'll be
we'll zoom
it'll be different. It'll be different.
We'll zoom them up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll be different. All right, buddy. We'll have a great holiday.
And you as well.
And
Christian, you have a great holiday as well.
Everybody have a great time off. Do the best you can. Spend time with family. There's a lot to be thankful for this year. A lot of folks are having a tougher time of it, and so we'll keep those people in our thoughts and prayers, and just try to do the best we can. 2021, it can't get much worse.
Let's hope not.
That's right. That's right.
All right, we'll see everybody next time.
Have a great holiday, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.